Real Madrid had 77% possession, 14 shots, 1.91 expected goals, 10 corners, and still lost 1-0. If this was 2014, we would say, unlucky, one of those days. But this isn't 2014 football. This is modern football. Football isn't evolving. It's mutating. The roles we thought we understood are dissolving. Welcome to tactical evolution, where we don't react to football. We decode it. Today, we're stepping inside the structural mechanics of modern positional play. Football in 2026 is no longer played on the wings. It is controlled in the central corridors. The most important midfielders on the pitch are no longer midfielders. They are full-backs operating as inverted central pivots. They are dismantling high presses and redefining positional play entirely. Traditional wing play? It's fading. This is the era of hybrid defenders. For decades, full-backs were defined by width. Think Roberto Carlos, explosive overlapping runs, Dani Alves, high aggressive attacking support. The role was simple: defend wide, overlap wide, deliver crosses, midfielders dictated tempo, fullbacks supplied width. But positional football evolved. High pressing systems intensified, central congestion increased, and the solution was structural, not individual. Managers needed an extra midfielder, so they inverted the fullback without sacrificing defensive balance. And everything changed. Modern fullbacks now step inside during build-up. Instead of a flat 4-3-3 build-up, we now see a 3-2 structure. The fullback joins the pivot line, creating central numerical superiority. This provides press resistance and strong rest defense. Look at players like Trent Alexander-Arnold, João Cancelo, or Oleksandr Zinchenko. When they invert, the center-back split wide, the fullback sits next to the 6, and passing lanes multiply. This is central corridor occupation. Instead of crossing from wide zones, they now dictate tempo inside. They receive between lines and manipulate pressure triggers. They create overloads in zone 14. Traditional wing play becomes secondary. Width is now held by wingers, not fullbacks. The game has centralized. Now let's talk about transitions. This is where the role becomes elite. When the fullback steps inside, the structure strengthens. They shorten counter-press distance and immediately block central counter lanes. In high-press situations, the pressing trap collapses. Why? Because the ball progression is now happening in midfield density, not near the touchline. Heat maps show something fascinating. Modern elite fullbacks have more central touches than some number 8s. That's not coincidence. That's systemic design. The fullback has become the structural equalizer. Let's take a structural example from teams like Manchester City or Arsenal. During build-up, one fullback inverts. This creates a 3-2 base and a 2-3-5 attacking structure. 5 players occupy the front line, 3 stabilize midfield, and 2 secure the defense. It's positional occupation with defensive insurance. When possession is lost because the fullback is central, the counter-press is immediate. That's the tactical beauty. They're no longer defenders. They are tempo regulators. Now here's the important question. Is traditional wing play dead? Not entirely. Teams like Liverpool or Bayer Leverkusen still use wide progression heavily. Against low blocks, overlapping fullbacks remain effective. But against high-pressing systems, inversion dominates. The game is evolving based on pressure intensity, and in 2026, central control wins matches. Modern football is no longer about who runs the wing. It's about who controls the center. Fullbacks have evolved into structural architects, from width providers to tempo dictators. The question is no longer, can your fullback cross? It's now, can your fullback control midfield density? That is the tactical evolution of 2026. And if your team hasn't adapted, they're already behind. This is structural interpretation. Let's break the game open. Drop your thoughts on inverted fullbacks below. Real Madrid had 77% possession, 14 shots, 1.91 expected goals, 10 corners, and still lost 1-0. If this was 2014, we would say, unlucky, one of those days. But this isn't 2014 football. This is modern football. And what happened here isn't bad luck, it's evolution. Today we're decoding what this result tells us about where football is going. Welcome to the future of football. Let's start with the obvious. 77% possession. On paper, that screams dominance. But possession has evolved. It used to mean control of the match. Now, it can mean control of the ball, but not control of space. Getafe, with just 23% possession, were not chasing shadows. They were managing space. They weren't pressing high. They weren't panicking. They were compressing vertically and horizontally. Modern low blocks are no longer defensive desperation. They are calculated structures. And here's the key. Possession without penetration is circulation, and circulation does not scare compact teams anymore. Let's talk about Getafe. This wasn't park the bus. It was structured compression. Backline tight, midfield narrow, distances between lines minimal. They reduced half-space access. They denied central progression. They didn't care if Madrid had the ball wide. Because modern defending understands something important. Wide possession is safe possession. The danger is central destabilization. If you protect the corridor, you control the threat. And that's exactly what Getafe did. This is evolution. Low blocks are no longer reactive. They are rehearsed and intelligent. Most elite teams attack in a 2-3-5 structure. 2 defenders, 3 stabilizers, 5 players across the last line. On paper, this creates width and central overload, but against ultra-compact mid-blocks, the 2-3-5 can become flat. If rotations are predictable or movement isn't disruptive, the structure becomes static and defendable. Madrid had 1.91 xG, but the real question is, how many of those chances came from structural disorganization? Modern football doesn't reward volume, it rewards destabilization. Now let's talk about the goal. Getafe didn't need 10 chances. They needed 1 clean moment. This is the brutal truth of modern football. When high possession teams push high and wide, they stretch their own rest defense structure. 1 vertical pass and the transition is lethal. Football has shifted from who controls the ball to who controls the moments. And transitional moments are worth more than 20 safe passes. What we witnessed was tactical compression beating positional domination. Modern mid to low blocks understand tempo manipulation. Getafe committed 17 fouls. They disrupted rhythm, slowed Madrid, and killed momentum. They defended space, timing, and psychology. Modern defending is layered, and it is catching up with attacking sophistication. 77% possession doesn't intimidate opponents anymore, because teams train for it. They prepare to suffer without the ball. They simulate blocks and rehearse triggers. Possession dominance is no longer a surprise. It's expected. So the new challenge isn't dominating the ball. It's breaking compact intelligence. That requires faster rotations and dynamic fluidity, not just circulation. This game exposes something deeper. Modern defending has evolved structurally, but many attacking systems still rely on occupation without destabilization. Static width, predictable crossing, and slow switches are all defendable. What isn't defendable? Rapid central rotation, explosive vertical runs, interior shifts. The next phase of elite football will prioritize movement over position, disruption over dominance, efficiency over volume. This isn't about panic. This is about adaptation. Elite teams must evolve beyond structured control. They must increase unpredictability and add vertical incision earlier, because modern blocks are patient, and patience beats sterile possession. Real Madrid lost 1-0, but the bigger story isn't the scoreline. It's the shift in football logic. The possession era promised domination. The compression era promises efficiency. The future belongs to teams that control space without the ball. They must exploit transitions ruthlessly and destabilize dynamically. Dominance is evolving, and if you can't evolve with it, you can have 77% possession and still walk away with nothing. This wasn't just Madrid losing. This was a reminder. Football doesn't reward control anymore. It rewards disruption, and that is where the future is heading. Drop your thoughts below. Can Barcelona overturn a 4-0 deficit against Atletico? Not a mid-table side, not a chaotic team, but one of the most structurally disciplined defensive systems in Europe. So, the question isn't emotional, it's tactical. Can FC Barcelona overturn a 4-0 deficit in modern football? Let's decode this using tactical evolution. In the past, comebacks were about momentum. Now, they're about structural risk. To score 4 goals, Barcelona must increase attacking numbers, push fullbacks high, compress space aggressively, and sustain territorial pressure. But here's the evolution problem. The more you push, the more you expose transitional space. And no team in Spain punishes transitional exposure better than Atletico. Atletico are not just defensive, they are compact specialists. Modern Atletico defend with vertical compactness, narrow half-space protection, aggressive midfield screening, and disciplined rest defense shape. When protecting a lead, they don't chase the ball. They defend zones intelligently. If Barcelona commit too many bodies forward, Atletico's counter-attacking lanes become lethal, and at 4-0 up, they don't need to attack often. To overturn 4 goals, Barcelona must evolve tactically during the match. They cannot rely on slow positional circulation. Against compact systems, horizontal possession kills urgency. Barcelona must increase interior rotations and overload central corridors. Attack second balls aggressively and press immediately after loss. But here's the danger. The higher the line, the larger the transitional gap, and Atletico specialize in exploiting that exact gap. Let's say Barcelona score early. Now the stadium explodes, momentum shifts, but modern defensive systems are not emotional. They are rehearsed. Atletico won't abandon structure. They will slow tempo, they will foul intelligently, they will break rhythm. The deeper the game goes, the more desperation enters Barcelona's structure, and desperation often destroys spacing discipline. In older eras, teams chased games with chaos. Now chaos is punished, modern football is transition-driven. If Barcelona open too aggressively, their rest defense becomes vulnerable, their central pivot becomes isolated, and their defensive width stretches. Atletico don't need possession. They need moments, and moments multiply when opponents overcommit. For a comeback to be realistic, Barcelona need 1. Early goal within first 20 minutes, 2. Structural discipline even while attacking, 3. Perfect rest defense positioning, 4. Clinical finishing, no wasted XG, they cannot concede. One Atletico goal ends the tie psychologically and tactically, because now Barcelona would need 5. That changes everything. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Modern defensive systems are better prepared to protect leads than ever before. Compactness, data-driven spacing, transition rehearsals. Football has evolved to reduce volatility, which makes 4-0 comebacks rarer at elite level. Not impossible, but structurally difficult. Is it possible? Yes. Is it probable? Only if Barcelona play at relentless vertical intensity and avoid emotional structural collapse. Sustain compact counterpress and convert chances clinically. They must evolve mid-match, not emotionally, structurally. A 4-0 deficit in modern football is not just about scoring. It's about solving a defensive equation designed to absorb pressure. And Atletico are masters of that equation. The future of football rewards structure over spectacle. So the real question is, can Barcelona disrupt a structure designed to survive chaos? Because if they can't, possession, dominance, and passion won't matter. Structure will, and structure usually wins. Drop your thoughts below. I'm Simple. See you in the next one.